Hey, what's up? It's Comic 95, the Savior. And for this video, kind of like a part two from my last one, I really want to talk, well, it's not really part two, but same day within about an hour of each other. I really want to talk about something that I won't say bothers me, but that I kind of want to like put out there. It irritates me, I should say. Excuse me. Sorry. I just finished eating. If you watched the first part, you know I was waiting on my burrito. It was good, but it did taste a little bit different from how I remembered it. But whatever, that's besides the point. I always feel like really in between about my channel. And I never really know like what I want to talk about or post, because I'll make another video where I talk about this in greater detail, but I wanted to kind of talk freely, like without a script for this one. So what I mean is not like a matter of having like writer's block, but I always feel like I want to be honest and talk about things as they are. But I know that I have a large American audience or foreign audience in general. The majority of my viewers come from the United States. Second to US is Japan. And then third, I have viewers from the UK, and fourth being Germany. But back on subject, I know that certain topics can be sensitive, but I feel like it's like the cost or the value, whatever the price that you pay, as not only a YouTuber, but someone that aims to be honest. Of course, I'm human. I lie. I make mistakes. I don't tell everything at times. But I feel like it's hard for me to talk about a lot of the topics that people want to hear about, whether it be something that people have commented about or messaged me about, or just videos that I want to make myself, like giving my own 2 cents or opinion. I feel like we've gotten to the point where you're not allowed to have your own opinion on things. You can't say what you truly think or what you truly feel, and you can't talk about things that are factual without people becoming offended by it, whether it be being accused of being racist or being sexist or being homophobic or just anything, or even like Islamophobia. Like, I feel like everything has just become a labeling someone as being a bigot or a bad person. And I'm saying this as a Black woman myself. So don't get me wrong. Don't confuse my stance on this with being someone that feels like, oh, like, why can't people be racist, can't be whatever? But that's not my point. My point in this video is more so to talk about my topics. I feel like as a vlogger that my channel is really more like a podcast. I give you guys advice and I share information that tells you about my own personal life, in which I hope that it gives you insight to what it's like being a teacher here, as well as, you know, what it's like, I don't know, being stressed out, Black, a vlogger, whatever in Japan. Give me 1 second. My light is like driving me crazy. Oh, of course, now it stops. It was like flickering. I feel like in order to answer some questions, it requires me to generalize Japanese people. And while nobody has really commented about this on my specific channel for the most part, I do know that whenever I talk about anything that deals with Black people, it automatically like makes people get super, super defensive. And this video isn't in relation to my most recent video in which I talk about things that Black people need to stop doing. I want to remind you that. I recorded that video weeks ago, but this video that I'm recording right now is being recorded before that video was published. So I have no idea what you guys' reaction is going to be like to that video, but I imagine it's going to be full of hate. But I've promised myself that I don't want to back down on my opinions or on things that I want to talk about based on how other people feel. As long as I'm coming from a good place and it's not meant to be taken in such a way, I want to be able to use my voice and my platform. And I talked about this a long time ago, saying that I would rather have 5 subscribers and get 3 views a week than get hundreds or thousands and have it where I feel restricted. I can't be honest. I can't be myself. I'm having to make apology videos to explain myself and, you know, whatever. And of course, I believe that we can change and grow as people. We can make mistakes. We can say things that we regret. We can change our mind about things that we've said in the past. I don't feel like that's so much the case. So, for example, I have a video in which I talk about what Japanese people generally think about Black people. And instead of like Black people like seeing, oh, okay, like, you know, she has a point. Japanese people think these stereotypes about us as Black people, but we also think negative stereotypes about them. We see them as being nerdy. We see them as being scrawny. We see them as being short, small dicks, whatever, can't speak English. We have all of these ongoing jokes within the Black community. We see them as being racist, following you around the store, eating cats, whatever the case might be. But we can't acknowledge that. So instead, it just becomes, oh, like, it's just you, it's just your situation. Even if somebody go as far to say that me trying to assimilate or prove that I'm not like the stereotype is problematic. And so while I think got what she was trying to say, that didn't make any sense either. So according to what you're saying is, I should be proud and glad to be a stereotype. I shouldn't try to change people's negative view of Black people. I should just do what everyone else is doing and say, fuck it, you should love me anyway. And not to say that there isn't some truth to that part too. But if that's the case, then we shouldn't get happy or proud when we see Black people be the first to do something, whether it be, the first to be president or the first to, be an astronaut or to do whatever. If that's the case, then we shouldn't care about Black businesses. We shouldn't care about things having Black labeled on it. Because based on what you just said, we shouldn't be trying to defy society. The whole reason why these things matter is because Black people have been talked down on and taught, not just information that's been given to white or Asian or Hispanic people, but even within our own community, we've been told that we cannot be these things. We're not smart enough. We're not strong enough. We don't have enough power. We're not intelligent enough. We don't have enough support. We can never be president. We can never do this. We can never do that. And so that's why we do make a big deal out of these situations. And again, like, I know that people don't want to hear this, but the reality is a Black movement will go nowhere without support from non-Black people. We can already love ourselves. We can already decide that our lives matter and that we're important. If we don't have support from white, Asian, and Hispanic people, Black Lives Matter goes nowhere, because that's the problem right now. We know our lives matter, but do they know? Do they see what's happening to us? You cannot raise awareness if you are not willing to put yourself in front of the people that need to be made aware. And so in my situation, I'm not faking a personality. I'm not faking my voice. I am an Oreo, if that's what you want to call me. I don't care. I talk the way that I do because this is how I talk. This is how I was raised. This is my natural speaking voice. Can I get ghetto and use Ebonics? Yeah, I slip up and I do stuff every once in a while. You've seen it in my videos where I rant. I probably do it in this one too. But it's not my natural speaking voice. And when I do talk crazy like that, it doesn't even sound like me. So it just really makes me so upset that people can't see that. And so for me, my purpose in these videos isn't to make Black people feel bad about themselves or to, bash them or whatever. I'm a Black woman myself. I love Black people, and I love my future children. They will be Black too. I will be a fool to talk down on them. But there are some things that we need to address the negative issues so that we can know how to go about to fix them and change them. It's simple as that. For example, it's a stereotype that Black people are gangbangers, drug dealers, etc. Does that mean that white people can't do the same thing? No. But I don't want to purposefully go into an environment where people that have never been around Black people know nothing about Black people other than, other than these negative things, and then tout my guns and talk about, GDK, whatever type stuff, throwing up gang signs. Is it a bit of a double standard? Yeah, sure. This might be something that can get laughed off by a white person, but if I do, it's like, oh, I read that about Black people. I knew they were dangerous. So I'm not here to, again, get too much into that, but it's just something that really aggravates me. I feel like it's impossible to talk about topics because people take stuff the wrong way. They don't understand what you're getting at. And instead of realizing, okay, she has a point. Yeah, people do think this about us. Yeah, we should want to change the image of this. Instead, it becomes, oh, you're an Oreo, you're a sellout. You're kissing the white man's ass or Japanese people's ass, whatever. Be yourself. So pretending to smoke weed and be a ghetto baby mama stereotype is being myself. I'm sorry that I didn't have children at the age of 14 like how you did. I'm sorry that I've never smoked weed a day in my life. I can't relate to you. And again, this isn't to say that other races, other people don't have or do these things. And I'm not bashing you for doing it. You're human. People do their own thing. But for me, personally, I'm proud of myself for being educated. I'm proud of myself for having gone to Japan without being in the military and doing it on my own. I literally I talked about this in the video, I think, before, but literally on my first day, like going to Japan, there was a black guy who actually got me a free bag checked in because it was overweight. He got my bag checked in, and he spent the whole time trying to flirt with me. He was saying, like, you must be a makeup artist. I had, like, lashes and everything on, etc. And so, what was I about to say? When he found out that I was going to Japan, he assumed that I was in the military. And so when I told him I wasn't, he, like, went down a list. Is your husband in the military? Your mom? Your father? Like, just the whole list. And so I'm like, you're black. Like, why are you stereotyping me? Like, why are you generalizing me like that? So it's just little things like that. And so this isn't to say I'm better than you or whatever, but I do feel happy when I see black people do things the traditional route or do things on their own without it being because of something else. I do feel happy when I see a black person that's successful, that's rich, not because they married some rich white guy or because, you know, they created necessarily like an OnlyFans or whatever, but they really worked their way up and they earned, you know, their whatever. So that's going to piss you guys off too, me even mentioning that. So it's just so easy to like offend people. I feel like you can't talk freely, you can't be yourself, and you can't talk about anything negative. And the other silly thing is too, the videos that I make on these topics are generally things that either one, girls are searching for, or two, people ask me about. I get messages all the time from mixed race girls, from Hispanic girls, from black girls asking me, how do people treat me? What do black people get treated like in Japan? What's it like being black, etc.? And worried about dating, worried about making friends because of their complexion. Well, I made your question into a video, and instead of people realizing, oh, maybe I came across this video because I've been searching for things like this, or there's even people that have like made hate videos in response to my videos, in which they've directed people to my videos so that they'll dislike it or whatever. So it's like, you know, whatever, it's adding to my watch time, giving me a view, thanks for the money, I don't care. So, but it just like kills me. It's like people ask these questions. I'm just answering them truthfully. Do you want me to lie and pretend like, oh, everybody loves black people here? Yeah, like they get way more love than white people. Am I supposed to lie to you? So it's like you have two options. Either you can lie to everyone and say whatever makes everyone happy. Or two, you can shut the fuck up and say nothing about it and ignore the truth. And I don't like number two. I don't like to ignore issues that really exist. I don't like to sweep things under the rug. I don't care for pleasing people. If you don't like what I have to say, you don't like what I think, you don't believe the facts that I present you with, then by all means, you can create your own false narrative. You're free to make your own video. You're free to unsubscribe. You don't have to stay here. You don't have to listen to me. But I will tell you that if you live your whole life with your hands over your ears and you choose, like, you know, you decide you're not going to listen to anyone, you don't want to believe anyone, you think that everything is perfect, everything is just cupcakes and rainbows and life is perfect here and it's just my experience because your husband loves you and your two friends and, you know, the students at your school, whatever, that's great for you, sweetheart. But if you opened up your eyes, opened up your ears, listened to other people's experiences, then you would see that everything's not as perfect as it seems. And a lot of the time, people that think everything is so perfect with Japanese people or in Japan, it's because they're ignorant. You're too busy talking. You're too busy listening to yourself and being surrounded by things that you want to believe that you don't see the truth. And I admitted that this was me. When I first came to Japan, I quickly went, I won't say quickly, but within a decent amount of time, I went from being paranoid about being seen and people looking at me to embracing it so much to the point I didn't notice people avoiding sitting next to me at all. I think my first situation, which I mentioned in my ghosting video, I believe, was I recall getting on a train and I plopped down on the seat. I was happy to have my seat. And the girl next to me, she literally like sprung up out that seat. Like if it seemed like when I sat on that seat, there was an eject button built into it that made the girl next to me like fly up. And it wasn't because she realized she was on the wrong train or wrong stop. She just didn't want to sit next to me. And it wasn't because like I stank or anything like that. She really just did not want to be seated next to me just because I was a foreigner. And that was my first time really noticing that. And so after that, I became more vigilant. I started to notice more and more. Not only were people avoiding sitting next to me, but there were people that didn't even want to stand next to me in line. Like it was just little weird stuff like that. So again, because I wasn't looking for these things, I wasn't paying attention. It wasn't something I was used to dealing with in my culture. It didn't cross my mind. I wasn't prepared for that. So if you asked me, no, it's not an issue. There's no ghosting here. But if you ask me later after that incident, then, oh yeah, I definitely have experienced it. And I think another issue is people think that because they haven't experienced something that it doesn't exist. You can say it's not likely to happen. You can say that it hasn't happened to you, but don't pretend like things don't happen, don't exist, don't whatever. On my video about not liking Asian men, it's full of comments from girls that are married to Asian men or that are running Asian men, Black women channels, in which their entire channel is based upon them fetishizing their boyfriend or fetishizing their spouse, and they're, shoving their spouse all up in the camera, and their subscribers aren't there for them as a girl. They don't like the woman. They're there for your boyfriend, for your husband. And so that's exactly what I've been trying to stay away from. I will make videos with my boyfriend in the future, with my family, etc. I'm not going to avoid that altogether, but I don't want that to be the basis of my channel. I don't, excuse me, I don't want my subscribers to be here because they like my husband, my boyfriend, or whatever. Because what happens when we get a divorce? What happens when he leaves me? And not just that, again, like my spouse is my life. It's not some type of prize, some type of trophy, some type of whatever. And I don't want to encourage people to be fetishizing that lifestyle, so to speak. So personal preference, my own thing. But again, like it just kills me. I hate that people want the truth, but they don't want you to make it into a video. And then I even had people saying that they were tired of like seeing videos or whatever, stuff like this. And then she tried to like backtrack on it and claim she's talking about Asian YouTubers. But it's like, girl, you lying. You talking about me. And so it's like, I hate that. I feel like Black people have the same mentality as racist white people, but in reverse. So for us, we don't like people commenting on the stuff that we need to change as a community to better ourselves. We don't like people making videos talking about why people don't like us or why people feel this way about us. But yet we want people to feel good about us. If we don't address the problems in our community, how can we change this? How can we know what to make better? A lot of people have been told, okay, Japanese people don't like Black people. But a lot of you don't know why. Why are Black people seen as negative? Why are they viewed, through this way? Why are they seen as these stereotypes? All I'm doing is stating the facts. I don't feel good about this either. I'm Black too. So I'm like, I really don't understand it. Oh, and then that's the other funny thing. Then when I do talk about Black issues, then I get told that I'm not Black and that I need to mind my own fucking business because apparently Black people can't have light skin. They can't have 3-type hair. They can't have long hair. I'm not Black. I'm mixed race. One of my parents is whatever. Have you met my mom and dad? My mom and dad are most certainly Black. So it's just so stupid. And so even like that, trying to discount people from being Black because they're mixed race. I grew up Black. I grew up with Black parents. And even if only one of my parents were Black, I can choose to identify as Black. I look Black. I am Black passing. I am Black. So it's whatever. And so even if I were mixed race, I would still feel my children will be mixed race. And I still plan for them. I hope they do feel just as strongly as I do and support Black people just as much. And, whatever strong as I do for my community. So again, like everything is not coming from a place of hate or mad of trying to bash Black people, but rather informing people about why people feel the way that they do. And I also balance the video. I talk about in my videos how we're viewed from Japanese people, as well as how as well as how we view Japanese people. They have stereotypes about us. We have stereotypes about them. What's so hard to understand? And I hate that people like keep trying to use their, I've said this before in another video, but using their situation to speak for everyone. Just because your boyfriend loves you, your husband, your whatever, does not mean that everyone likes Black people. Oh my God, you're so stupid. Based on what you just said, that means racism doesn't exist because if it did, I wouldn't have a German last name. My father wouldn't be German. I would not exist. So, of course, racism is fake. That's why we have biracial people. That's why the world is becoming more and more brown. That's why there's more people with 3B and 3C hair every single day, brown hair and light-colored eyes, this, that, and the other. That's why these things exist. There is no racism. All white people love all Black people. Stop lying to people. Black Lives Matter is fake. That's what you basically just said to me. Now, look at how ignorant all of those statements were. Okay. So when you tell me, oh, there is no racism here, they love me, I don't know about your experience. Bitch, oh my fucking God. Just because your friends, your group, people that you dated, clap, clap, good for you, ho. If you watch my videos, I literally talk about how I actually find it easier to date in Japan than in the US. I'm seen as exotic and a rarity here. I'm seen as beautiful. I get compared to Rihanna and people that I don't look anything like all the time. I am not speaking for myself. I'm talking in general. Most of what I talk about, I can't even relate to because I don't have dark skin. I am not obese. I don't have all of these issues that other people do have. I'm speaking in general. And I'm also speaking realistically. I would argue that the majority of people that have dated me have either one, never dated a black woman, two, never thought of a black woman as being attractive, but after meeting and dating me, they liked me for me, not my race. And that cannot be said the same way about white people. White people in Japan, even before you got here, you've already been idolized and put on a pedestal above the native women here. Almost all of the magazines, makeup products, fashion shows, etc., are full of white European women, blonde hair, blue-eyed girls. People strive to look like you. They dye their hair, they wear contacts, they do everything to look like a blonde hair, blue-eyed Barbie doll here. It's culturally acceptable to say you wish you were white here. They don't have the same standards that we have in the US, where even if you wish you were white, you know to shut your mouth because the black community gonna come for you. They don't have that here. Bleaching your skin, everything else is totally acceptable. It's fine to do here. And so with that said, it's like, guys, I'm literally just telling you what people really do here. It's acceptable to want to be white. It's acceptable to want and admire white people. But black people is not the same way. So again, this ain't my own feelings, say my own personal 2 cents. I hate it. I'm jealous. I wish that I could say otherwise. It's not fair. I hate that people are so close-minded. I hate that we're represented by ugly people that they can find. Ugly, straggly crackheads that they find. Those are the photos they used to represent us. Skinny, crackheads, drug dealers, gangbangers, dangerous, violent thugs. That's what we're viewed as. Those are the images they use to portray us. Whereas white people, rich, classy, beautiful, pale skin, whatever. And this isn't to bash my white subscribers, but I'm simply saying that I'm stating the facts. Why is me being honest making you angry? Why is me being honest making me anti-black? So I should lie to you and say that we're seen as beautiful, wonderful, perfect people here? I didn't say I agree with it. Stating the facts, telling you what it is. And for some reason, that makes me not black. And I'm a mixed girl talking on stuff that I have no business speaking on because I'm not black. Okay. So that's that off of that particular video. But I just hate that I feel like limited because there's so many other things that I want to talk about. And so I'm going to do it anyway. But I do like feel like, oh, maybe I shouldn't say this. Maybe I shouldn't make this video. It's like you always have to think 20 times over. Like anything you say, you have to over-explain yourself and explain, I don't mean this. Don't take it this way. No Captain Obvious. Like you have to do so many disclaimers. You can't speak your mind on anything. And now society's like met up with all this cancel culture, whatever. It's literally to the point where if you say anything somebody disagrees with, you're canceled. Like, you can't have opinions. You have to, that's one thing that I admire about Japanese people, which I plan to make a video on that. But it's like, you can't be your own person. You have to say everything that everyone already else thinks and believes with and agrees with. If you say anything that falls outside of that, oh, your career is not going to last very long. And so, like I said, I would rather lose subscribers, have people hate me for being honest, than people love me for being a liar and not telling the truth. I like my channel because a lot of what I talk about are things that I worried about, things that I questioned, things that I searched for before I came to Japan. And I like the fact that I have my little platform in which I can inform people and talk about stuff and reach out to other people. This is not here for, to make people feel bad or bash them and make them envy me and want to be me, etc. But just tell them how it is. I had another video. I talked about this in another rant before too, in which I was talking about Japanese. And instead of people saying, oh, okay, she's right. You don't need to know how to speak Japanese fluently in order to go to school here, in order to come here as a tourist, in order to date here, in order to work here. Nope. People got mad and attacked me for that. Instead of being like, oh yeah, she's right. I don't need to waste all my time just studying Japanese. I should be out there working. Instead, people were like, oh no, you're wrong. You do need Japanese. I hate foreigners to come here and can't speak, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you're not getting it. The years that you will spend trying to become completely fluent in Japanese, you can be spending learning Japanese within Japan. I literally say that in the video. I didn't know a lick of Japanese before I came here. I've now graduated, worked, dated, everything. I'm in the process of getting married here now and starting a family. The vast, overwhelming majority of foreigners that even watch on YouTube did not know how to speak Japanese before they came here. Almost all of them either learned it after getting here or many of them still can't speak it to this day. So it's like, it's not a need. I literally work with people that have been in Japan for 10, 20 years and can't even read hiragana, katakana, and I'm not even exaggerating, you guys. I've talked about that too. So it's like, I'm not telling you to not do these things. I'm telling you that it's not a need, and that instead of procrastinating and finding a scapegoat by saying, oh, I can't come to Japan until I'm at least at N3 level of Japanese. It's a scapegoat. You're using it as an excuse to distract you from the fact that really you have a spending problem and you can't save the money you need for your flight, for your passport, to pay your tuition. That's what's really going on. But y'all don't want to hear that. Instead, it's, oh, translation, this bitch is telling me not to learn a second language and to spend my whole time being a dumb foreigner. Okay. I would say that, in fact, by far, English is needed even less than English is needed for people that can only speak Spanish in the US. Everything here that's of any importance has an English translation. And anything that doesn't have an English translation, there's always someone that can speak English native fluently that can help you. So even if it's not written on paper, there's either a friend, there's either a translator available there, there's something there for you. Even the products that you buy at stores, food, etc., a lot of stuff is even self-explanatory. You will learn Japanese as you go. So I'm not going to get into a whole rant on that. I've already talked about the stuff before, but I'm just saying that I do feel like weird as I move along. I don't like the direction I see my channel going in. I feel like I'm becoming more and more restricted in what I can say or do as I attract more subscribers and I get new people and, more comments, etc. I feel like there's a price you pay. You have to think, do you want to speak freely and be judged and saying this, oh, speaking freely means that you're ignorant, you're insensitive, you're being harsh, whatever. Or do you want to sugarcoat everything, lie to everyone to make everyone happy? Giving another example, people getting mad at me for literally telling you what's on immigration's website. Guys, I don't make the rules. I came here without a degree. And people are mad at me and feel like I'm being cocky and full of myself because I'm telling you what you need. Trust me, I tried. I looked for everything, every possible way to come here without having a bachelor's degree. And I even admitted in my video, yes, there are ways, but they're hard to get. It's really, really difficult to get a visa sponsor without having a bachelor's degree. Most companies, even if you have a visa, if you don't have a bachelor's degree, they will not hire you. It's a personal want the companies have too. You'll always play second fiddle to someone that does have a degree. And unless you somehow magically make connections or you manage to start your own school, you more than likely will struggle to find work, especially if you happen to get fired, move, quit, whatever the case happens to be. A lot of the people living and working here that don't have a degree but have visa sponsorship, they're from a third world country. And generally, for them, the money they're making in Japan is a lot. So they don't care if they're getting paid garbage salary. They oftentimes live with several roommates. They're being abused as an employee, working unpaid overtime, working long, ridiculous hours, all type of crazy stuff. There's always an exception to every rule. There's going to be somebody that managed to get a visa with no degree and they're making, 600,000 yen a month. That is the exception to the rule. I can guarantee you. It would be foolish and not wise of me to pretend like, oh, I know this one person that did it, or I know these 5 people. So yeah, guys, go ahead and do it this way. This really works. It's a lie. Why not just do things the way that, surefire will definitely work. It's been proven and tried. But nope, that makes way too much sense for people. Apparently this bitch thinks she's better than everybody because she graduated. It's like, that couldn't be further from the truth. I literally have videos talking about how hard it was. I talk about classes that I failed. I talk about all the mistakes that I made, both as a teacher and as a student. So I just feel like so tired at times, like just dealing with comments and dealing with people's ignorance and stupidity. But it really helps me understand what I feel like what's wrong with the world. People can't have opinions. People can't be honest. People don't like to read. People don't like to listen. People will take what you say, run with it, twist it, and people refuse to learn and better themselves. And I hate to say this because, again, I hate to bash my own community, but as a Black person, it really angers me because I feel like that's a big problem with our community as it is. We can't take critique. We can't take criticism, and we don't want to help each other. Instead, trying to help your community, trying to help each other is seen as being a sellout, is seen as being anti-Black. And that's just like the dumbest thinking. I can't understand that. But it is what it is, and that's how people want to view it. If I talk about the fact that I'm defining a stereotype. I'm not being this way like how people think. And I'm talking about how people have told me, myself and my own mother, that, I've never met a black person before. You're the first black person that I met. I thought you were going to be this way. I thought you were going to be angry. I thought you were going to be mean, rude, whatever. I shouldn't be happy that I showed someone that the stereotype you thought of me is just that, a stereotype. It's not true. It's fake. I shouldn't be proud of that. Instead of focusing on the fact, wow, she changed someone's opinion or perspective about my race. Instead, you're mad at me for trying to defy stereotypes. Like, I literally just can't comprehend it. And it's like, if your obsession with Japanese people is so strong that you can't listen to somebody of your own race talking about the racism, the, harsh treatment, whatever, the poor treatment that you've gotten from them, and all you could take from it is, well, my experience was good, so it's just you, because my boyfriend, because my student. Girl, you have so much to learn. Like, I can't even, get into that, so that's that. I'm done driving myself crazy with you guys. It's hard for me to do at times, I won't lie, because it hurts me, and sometimes I just want to go back and forth, but I'm not going to waste my time on it. You disagree with me, you disagree. I'll leave your comment there if I feel like it's not too inappropriate, but sometimes I'll leave the bad ones too. Like, there's one sitting there right now. I don't care. I'm not going to bother with it. I think it's sad that the world has come to what it has, where people can have opinions, people can have constructive arguments and discussions, and instead, people want to just blindfold themselves. You want racism. You want problems to go away. You want information, but you don't want honest information because it hurts. You want to know how to get here, but you don't want to be told that you have to get here the legal way, which is getting a degree. You want to come to Japan, but you don't want to be told you don't have to be fluent in Japanese to get here. It's a waste of time. You just need money to physically get here, support your student visa. You don't want to hear that because it ruins your procrastination plans. You don't want somebody to tell you the truth. So it's like, why ask questions then? Why ask me what people think of you or what people think, of Japanese people, whatever, if me answering that question now makes me a bad person? Why ask me a question and then if I answer it, oh, you're being racist, you're stereotyping, you're generalizing them? There are some things that are true in general for Black people. For example, I can say, all right, most Black people have dark skin. It's kind of factual. That's the reason why we put on the pedestal people that have light skin. Most Black people have 4-type hair. That's the reason why we put on the pedestal people that have 3B hair, things like that. Okay, with that said, same thing goes for Japanese people. I can say that most Japanese people are short. Most Japanese people, believe it or not, it's not racist. I'm just being real factual. On average, they do tend to have smaller dicks. They do tend to have smaller hands, smaller feet. They're shorter in stature. Is everyone like that? No. I would know. However, can I be honest and say that, yeah, I have dated people that were short. I've dated people that have had small dicks, etc. Is every Black guy well endowed? No. There are most certainly Black men that have small dicks. I haven't met one yet, but that's another story. You get my point? It's just that it's a stereotype. There's always exceptions to every rule. But at the same time, there are some truths to some stereotypes. There are. And I'm sorry to say that. But again, it's like I can't answer your question without coming off as being racist in that sense. You want to know what Japanese people think. But then if I answer it, oh, that's racist. That's not true. They don't all think this way. They don't all look this way. Guys, it goes without saying, Captain Obvious, ding, ding, ding. Yes, there's an exception to every rule. Yes, your man doesn't think that way. Yes, you can find a guy that likes tall girls. You can find a guy that likes this, a guy that likes that, a girl that likes this, a girl that likes that. That's factual, of course. Yes, there's always someone that is that unicorn. Even for my own race, I said this in my video. Most Black women, or Black people in general, do not like Asians, especially Black women. We are notorious for joking about them, talking about them, calling them feminine, calling them short, calling them small, etc. If you were to take a Japanese guy and bring him through the hood in Chicago, most of them girls are going to laugh at his ass. They will not be throwing themselves at him. Will some girls do it? Yeah. Will some girls be open to dating him? Yes. I know from firsthand experience, not a Japanese guy, but I went on a date with a Korean guy when I was in college. I was about 18 or 19 years old. And the guys there were absolutely ridiculously rude to my date. I felt embarrassed. And so I was glad they did leave us alone, but they weren't right there at our table, but they were clearly talking about us while we were in line, getting our food, and once we were seated. And thank God, I don't think he could understand or hear everything that they were saying, but I just felt horrible because I was like, I should be standing up for him. I should say something. I don't know what to do. But they were calling me like a bad wench and a sellout, etc. They were being super disrespectful. They didn't know that I was on a date with him at first. And when they found out that I was on a date with him, they lost it. So again, it goes both ways. So that's that. I'm done. All I have to say is I hate that it's like you can't speak. You say anything, then it's racist and you're generalizing. You speak the truth, people get mad and think that you're, speaking on your high horse and that you think you're better than everyone else. I don't know. Like, what should I do? There's no like happy medium. You are too honest with people, people hate you. You lie to people, then they love you. Like what do you guys want? So I'm done. This rant can go on forever. Thank you for watching. I'll get over it. I'm going to continue to post like how I always do. I'm going to speak my mind, say what I want to. And you have the right to disagree. You have the right to do whatever. But all I have to say is listen to what I'm saying. Don't try to dissect what I'm saying and add stuff into my mouth. Don't take things away from it that was not the point of this video. Like, really hear me out and listen to what I have to say before you judge me. That's all I ask. So that's that. Thank you for watching.